ready? Because I definitely wasn't and forgot to put out the tweet until like 3 seconds ago when I spent like 4 minutes typing it up when I should have started stream. We're going live on TV now. Hi chat, how we doing today? How is everyone? Yeah, so I definitely keep forgetting to make tweets for these streams going live. And then realized that I hadn't made one yet, so I very, very quickly typed one up and put it on YouTube instead of starting the stream. So hi, we're here now. How's it going today, chat? Ooh, stretch. So this is again part of the whole thing of me trying to force myself to build the routine of doing art at least an hour every single day, 5 days. Oh, not every single day, 5 days a week. And I took what's the day? Thursday. I took Monday and Tuesday off from doing art stuff since the most recent art thing we did. Hi, Wilt. Crickets and noises. Hi, Wilt. But the most recent one we did was this one right here, this LAPPIPI piece, which is actually the first piece of original digital art I've ever put out, or I've ever made, and I'm actually very happy with it. Even if I did kind of cheat, because it mostly looks good because of the human figure rendering, and human figure studies were always my specialty back in the day when I was a more active artist over a decade ago. But it turned out nicely. It also took like 6.5 hours, and I kind of burnt myself out on art for a second, so I decided to take 2 days off. Yesterday, I couldn't fit in the stream or anything because I had to work early today and also it was after work yesterday, and I just was tired. I'm still fucking tired right now. I'm pretty sleep deprived, but it is what it is. But I didn't actually do any like actual drawing or painting or anything yesterday, but I did spend like an hour and a half studying since I did start Magoon's character illustration course on Colosso. April Fools. They have an April Fools event going on, and I got some art courses. But that one in particular, Mugun's, is like, from all of the research I did, pretty widely considered the best art course you can take. And I've so far, even just in the hour and a half of studying I've done on it, I've done with his course, I've learned a lot, since his course is very focused on learning and understanding like what you need to do and how to do it quickly to develop like anime stylized character illustration skills. And in particular, the part I went through of him talking about head anatomy and what is kind of the important aspects to know for like anime stylization, as well as how to stylize things. I haven't actually gone all the way through the part of him specifically going through the stylization aspects of it, but I feel like I learned a lot. And right now, definitely, like, the two biggest barriers I recognize, or the two biggest things I need to work on, are largely, like, faces. I still am not great at anime stylized faces, especially without references. Especially in the style that I want to do, which is a little bit more, like, shonen-ai, shoujo, seinen, semi-realistic proportions faces. And then also just hair. I still don't get how to do hair like hair properly in like this kind of a style. This one looks really good because it's off of a reference. But yeah, I need to work on hair things. Hi, Wilts. I don't know why this auto translated your hi into hi. YouTube's chats auto translate AI stuff is very weird and will translate random things into other random things. Like your hi. Here, I'll just, like, screenshot it so you can see what I'm talking about. This is what it looks like normally, and then I highlight, and then, like, when I hover over it, it looks like this instead, which is your original message. So thanks for that, YouTube. Very cool, very helpful. Appreciate that. Very much appreciate that. I also have learned that I can't really, I don't know what is going on with like YouTube Studio and with like the live streaming side of YouTube and everything, but it's very clearly fucked because like right now on YouTube Studio side, it's bouncing between saying there's like 3 and 7 concurrent viewers, and I was very briefly in Supa, my favorite ARK NIGHTS content creators, stream the other day when I was awake at 6 a.m. and should have been going to sleep, and YouTube was like, oh, Supa has like 19 viewers, and then the chats was active, like there were like 50 to 100 plus actively chatting chatters in there, and if you looked at like the individuals in the chats, because that's a thing you can do, it's like, wait, there's like fucking 50 something people in here who have posted in chat in like the last however many minutes. And yeah, I made a joke that Supa is reverse botting because they're somehow creating chats instead of creating viewers. But yeah, YouTube live streaming metrics have been very weird and broken apparently, so it is what it is. It is what it is. Ooh, stretch. God, I almost feel like I need a fucking stretch after work. I'm so tired, chat. Actually, real quick, let me grab another Celsius packet and mix myself a Celsius to sip while we work on all of this. But yeah, for today, I don't want to, like, dive into another big project, because that's what I've been doing the past few streams, where I kind of do, like, a full study with rendering and color and everything involved in it. And I don't want to do another one of those right now, especially after spending 6.5 hours in one stream doing this original piece. Especially because I know that the ones that I do won't probably turn out as well as this one. So I just kind of want to do some more focused practice today. So we're just going to shotgun out some LAPPIPI heads, because I want to practice my facial anatomy and stylization. Just drinking my Celsius I just mixed. One sec. Okay. Caffeine, overcome my sleep deprivation. Empower me. But yeah, we're just gonna, like, shotgun out a bunch of LAPPIPI heads. No rendering or anything, just kind of trying to build the shapes and everything, and the forms and everything correctly. So let's pick out some LAPPIPI faces from Unmask's music video real quick that I would like to just do, like, quick sketches and shaping of that I haven't done yet. Okay, did this one, so don't want to do those ones. Done this one before a while ago. I do like this one, but it's a bit too in shadow. I don't think I've done this one. I do kind of like this one. Here, let's just, like, okay, new. Let's make this one pretty long, actually, because we're going to do a bunch of them, so let's just do this by, like, 6,000. LAPPIPI 402. Okay, put that one in there. Be a bit more selective after like grabbing a few of them, but I do like this one a lot. That one in there. Let's see, I do like this one a lot. That one in there. Yeah, I don't know how long this art stream's gonna be, because our art streams have been anywhere from like 3 to 7 hours long. But since I'm kind of just like doing some like shotgun out facial practice and not trying to like actually reach an endpoint with like a study or something, I don't know how long this one will actually be. We'll see how long my stamina goes on, I guess. See how many faces we get through. I do like this one. It's a little hard to see the facial anatomy, but I like the eyes at least. At least I probably will want to do the eyes in that one. I also like this one. Big scared eyes. Why no load? Why no load? There. Oh, my VPN on for some reason, do I? Nope, okay. Sometimes it turns on by itself and I don't realize. Ooh, I do like that one. And that'll be like a nice profile view as well. Huh, interesting. This one has some of the, like, curve from the lower angle of the upward mouth, which is actually a nice thing to study. That's one thing that I learned yesterday from the course I'm taking, that I hadn't really ever consciously thought about before, which is understanding like facial jaw anatomy well enough to just understand that depending on the angle, right? Since your lower jaw and your upper jaw move up and down, depending on the angle, one side versus the other is going to have some of that like horseshoe curve because it's not being looked on straight on. And when you stylize to have none of that curve, it looks a little weird. Done that one before. Would like to do one of these ones, but which one? Like this one. Let's do this one. Already done this one before. Okay. Oh, that's a pretty decent selection. I really like these ones. I don't think is that even one that's like actually readable enough though for me to study it properly. I might have to come back to that later when I'm a bit more comfortable with all the facial things. Same with this one. I like this one, but it's not really that readable. I need stuff that's a bit clearer right now. Okay, I think those are good. We can start with those. Whoops. Yeah, that's 9 options to look at. Let's see here. Let's see. I'm gonna cut some of these out. Maybe this one for now. Yeah, okay. These all look pretty nicely. Okay. Let's... Is there a specific order I want to do these in, or do we just say, fuck it, we ball and go in? Let's start with this one, actually. It's like a simpler angle on the face, so it'll probably be a bit easier to do. Actually, maybe we do this one first. It is a very simple frontal angle. Yeah, let's start with the front angles first, actually. That will probably be better to start off with before we start having to worry about facial angles. Okay, let's put this all in a folder. And then we can yoink them out individually. Okay, let's make a layer for that. And I guess let's just start sketching. Where the fuck did I put my stylus? There it is. Okay. Bring this down to 7. 7 work? Yeah, 7 works. Okay. General shape of face. Nope. About right there. Is that a little too wide? No, I think that's fine. Eyes going down that way. Center face line is slightly curved. Okay, let's see. If eyes are here and nose is right here, 1/3, 1/3. Mouth is about here, but it's slightly lower in this expression because it's dropped, but that's about where the mouth should normally start. Slight curvature, turning it that way. Eyes. About 1 eye width in between eyes or so. Half an eye width on the outside. That is too angled. Okay. Let's see. Cheekbone right about there. Oh, this is on soft eraser. I need hard eraser. Let's see. Cheekbone right there. Chin right about there. Goes a little lower than what I had here. Whoops, nope. Trying to hit undo and hitting the wrong button. Less sunken cheek. Trying to do this more classic sketching way instead of like the shape first thing we did before, but I don't know how that's gonna go. I might swap over to doing shapes. Dot nose. Yeah, my eyes are way too low. My eye line is way lower than it should be. And my nose is a bit too high up. Oh, too low, I mean. Needs to be higher up. Same with the mouth. Start of the mouth, mouth tends to be in breaking down in thirds from the nose. Supposed to be at like the 1/3 mark in thirds. This expression is slightly lower though. Yeah, no, that's not right. I might actually have to do this in shapes, having a hard time with just the lines. Let's idle this real quick. All right, it is 220 for the French gray I like. And I believe it's 90. Wait, no, it's 20 and 10. Or is it 10 and 90? Shit, I don't remember. I think it's 10 and 80. That looks right. Let me double check and make sure I have that number right. Oh, wait, shit, what did this save? That is the wrong folder. Okay, but. The fuck was this? Yeah, 10 and 80. Wait, it's 219. It should be 220. Whatever, it's fine. Yeah, 10 and 80. So yeah, I did get the numbers right. Okay, cool. Okay, whites. Anything that's like past here is just kind of having to imagine the hair, but behind the hair, but yeah, that's about there. Let me just fucking disable this. That's a bit more like that shape. It's probably actually got this slight curve there that you can't see behind the hair. You can kind of line up the sketch to be more in line with that. Try this methodology out and see how it goes. That eye's about the right height, actually. It's this one that's off. Okay, let's just do these eyes as full shapes real quick. I just have an easier time seeing whole shapes than I do just like the lines, so I'm gonna try this out and see how it goes for like sketching things. And then we can just cut this out real quick. Pupils are about right here in the center point because they're staring straight ahead. Should I put some music on? I feel like I should put some music on. have ear around right here. And there is no ear over here, but it would be like around right here. Thought of the nose is too low, I think. Rest of the head is off screen, so kind of hard to gauge it anatomically, but the dot of the nose, I learned, is also not actually the bottom of the nose, which is where like facial proportion measurements happens. It's actually the tip of the nose, so it's slightly above. Like bottom of the nose would probably be closer to here. Which means that my mouth is still too high up, because it should be roughly a third of the way down from there. Now my dot's too high up, I think. My dot's too high. Maybe. Yeah, relative to like the cheeks. That is a bit closer. Let's go ahead and kill that. Eyes aren't nearly wide enough. At least that eye isn't. This one looks kind of fine. This one down a little lower, I think. They don't quite look like they're in line with each other. Also, this is got a little more curvature to it right there. A little more inset, I think, right there. Chin point is a bit more to the left, which makes sense from a facial geometry standpoint. Let me draw in the eyelids. Just the visible open part of the eye throws off my like relative perception a lot, I feel like. I need to have like the whole eye there. Might as well just do the eyebrow too while we're at it. Do I have the placement of like the jawbones correctly? Relatively. Nose is still too low slightly. Hmm. Okay, let's throw in a little hair. Big shape of hair. It's probably still be easier if I were to do shapes first, but let's just try sketching it in first. Back in the kitchen cooking peak. Hi, Dread, welcome in. LAPPIPI seems tired or low energy. Yeah. Something like that. I think she's supposed to seem more... I mean, tired. Maybe a little bit upset. This or needs to be... What, further inward? More like that. Yeah, this hair would probably be a lot easier if I just painted it in first instead of trying to sketch it. I say as I continue to sketch it. Let's see. This hair actually comes a lot more down. There's like the gap here between the jawbone, which means that my jawbone is off. A bit more like that angle. Let's see, big shape. Another big shape over here. Kind of see the ears slightly behind there, but only slightly. This curves around this way. I feel like I need to like actually fill out the eyelashes. Just like I'm having a hard time translating. Without like thick enough eyelashes. Yeah, like these are all way too low down since I went for like the space and the shape in between the top of the lid and oh, like from this like top lid to where like the open lid starts, but there's like a very thick layer between those, so there we go. This would be honestly easier if I just... Oop. This would probably be easier if I just use lasso fill for this. Been trying to sketch and fill out the sketch. Okay. Um. Noticeable curvature there. This actually flares out a bit more. I love me some classic grays. What's your thought process on shading the eyes? I don't really have much of one right now because I haven't actually done much in terms of like shading, eyes. That's something I need to like actually study more, since in most of the other stuff we've done, I haven't actually done much eye shading outside of like maybe a little bit to like round out the form of the eye or something by having, having like a little bit of man, take 3 days break from CSP and I can't remember my shortcuts anymore. Other than maybe like, a little bit on the outside here, right? To kind of build some 3D form, but that's not even intentional right now. Like, there is not supposed to be eye shading here. This is just me very uncleanly cutting out the P. In fact, you know what? Let's do this. Let's like actually like clear this out properly, because I'm not trying to have any kind of like line rendering right now, or any kind of like rendering or shading in there right now. This is not right. Ugh. Where the hell is this jawbone supposed to be? I think this is just a bit too bulbous, maybe. I think mouth and nose are slightly lower than what I have. Let me cut out the eyes real quick. This needs a downward curve. This needs a curve. A little too much. Does the lower left of the jaw to the chin curves, lower left of the jaw to the chin curve, that jaw to the chin curves in or out? It should curve in slightly, but you can see there's like this slight roundness right here. But it should probably curve a little bit in, considering this is like a slightly facing to the left angle. You can see how like everything is kind of leaning a bit to the left here, and then there should be like maybe a slight curve right here. I don't know. I don't know. But it looks like it's supposed to be slightly curving out this way. Where did I put my vape? There is my vape. I need to refill my vape. Yeah, I don't know if I like sketching out the hair like this. I think I should really be doing hair in shapes, not in lines. Oops, I'm not on the hair layer for that. I don't know. Let's just fill out these eyelashes real quick. Okay, I need lasso fill for this. If anyone's trying to watch this to try to learn something, maybe, I don't know. My methodology is very weird. It probably won't work for you. I have a very shape-thinking brain, so I'm trying to figure out, like, how to do, like, sketching and placement and everything from, like, a shape angle. And I don't even know if any of the things I'm doing actually work well or not yet. Seems to be a bit higher up. Yeah, that actually makes more sense. It's just that there's a much thicker eyelash on top here. Yeah, I don't even know if the way I'm doing things is good or makes sense even for my brain, but if you're not a shape thinker and a line thinker, you're probably better off just doing, like, normal sketching things. I guess my point is, if you're looking for someone to, like, mimic or learn techniques from, find someone who is better than me. This is more so just me doing practice and trying to figure things out that work for my weird brain. These, like, curve outwards. Which makes sense. The lashes should follow, like, the curvature of the eyes, so it makes sense for these ones to point downwards and this one to point out to this side. Like, this whole, like, making the full eye shape and then carving out all of the whites, all of, like, the negative space in there is a very weird way of doing the eye, and I don't know if I would recommend this to anyone else, but it makes sense for my brain. This has more curvature following the sphere of the eye. Again, aiming for this sort of Viking horn shape that's right here. Like, a normal person would just sketch in this bowl and then sketch in the center here, but it kind of makes more sense to my brain to do the whole shape and then carve out the rest. Maybe it's because I have weird sculptor brain or something. Is that centered? Yeah, that's centered enough. Okay, let's just be slightly downwards. Have the shadow follow the curvature of the eye. This needs to be slightly more at this angle. Bit straighter across while this follows in an upward curvature. Although I guess the straightness of that line is more of a stylization choice. This eyebrow is at a much sharper angle for this expression. Slight curve here when it hits the end. And honestly, most of this right now is me just trying to get used. I really like the art style. Like this type of, like the kind of like style of stylization they do in this. They do with like LAPPIPI in this music video, which is why I'm just doing a lot of studies of how they structure the faces in here so that I can understand that better and maybe understand more about how they stylize things and absorb it into my toolkits as I develop my own style of things. Okay, yeah, no, I keep forgetting. This has to have an outward curve. This has to have a curvature here. If it doesn't have a curvature, it looks flat because eyes are curved, even if it's just a slight curvature. This eye wide enough? I think this eye needs to be a bit... Is this eye wide enough? I think it's a bit wider, isn't it? Maybe not. It's hard to say because you can't actually see the side of the head here. Yeah, doing hair by lines is weird for me. I'm just gonna paint in white. It's a bit more downward than that. Oh, this is way too far to the side. Look at the center line in the face. It cuts through right there. Yeah, this is way too far to the side. More like that. Okay. That angle's too steep. It's more like... My brush might be too small for this. Let's up it to like 15. Yeah, that's better. Sure, those underneath of here. There we go. Okay. Why so glum, chum? True, Alex. Welcome in. Absorbing knowledge for free, thanks, Realism Master. I am not a Realism Master. I am washed up, was trained in realism person. I am very much not a master of any kind when it comes to arts. And don't view me as such. Because if you do, that's... That can be dangerous to assume that what I'm doing is correct when it's very possibly not, you know? I am but washed up human figure realism art person who is trying to figure shit out anew right now. Okay, let's see. This blade goes off kind of like this. Yeah. Kind of like that. This cuts through here. And down through like here. Let's see. Shape is mostly like about that, yeah. Which means that this is too much. This is a bit more. Oops. I'm not. I'm on alpha. A bit more straight down right here. Okay, let's just like paint in at this point. I think with the hair too, especially, it's not as important to get my shapes looking exactly like the reference I'm studying, but more so to make the shapes look good as they look like as hair. Which they are currently not. The overall shape looks fine there, though. Let's go ahead and fill that out real quick. Yeah, I can see that that shape doesn't work. It's a bit more bulbousy like that. Into a sharp point down there. Straight up. Then another shape going off this way. That bit's a little less important, though. Let's see. Closer to, like, that, I guess. I should probably honestly be painting in the clothes as well. But for now, let's just get these big hair shapes out of the way. See, hair goes straight down this way. Kind of more like that, I guess. Yeah, and then the point of this is actually over here. Let's see, this needs to be higher up. This just about matches that curve right there. Yeah, I think filling out these full shapes, even if I'm doing like kind of outer line now, I can still like look at the shape right here and a bit more of the whole shape better when I'm filling it out like this versus just having lines right here instead. Seeing this whole shape is helping me kind of put everything into better context, I guess. Okay. Which case, let's just do some lining over this, at least some little sketching, little sketchwork stuff. Uh, Oh, interesting. There's kind of a line that goes through here. Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. Okay, I see how this is shaped now. This is a little too wide, though. It's supposed to be like this thin blade coming off of it. With this sort of curvature right here. Oops. Undo. Yeah, but more like that. Yeah. It doesn't have quite the right amount of curvature, but it's fine. The idea is for it to be this thinner blade coming off like that. Oh, this is way, 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 way too fat. Like this. This kind of goes like this. Yeah, that's way too fat. Yeah, it's cutting in too much too. It's got more of a bulbous curve to it. Kind of more like that. That curvature gives the hair a bit more flow. Yeah. Okay, I see. The variation of the line clarity scratches an itch at the back of my head. I think it serves to increase focus on face and add a sense of distance to the piece. Yeah. No, I mean, that's definitely an intentional thing. When you, on your focal point, you want there to be more detail and or line weight or something like that. You want there to be more, like, dominance in the focal point, in which case that would be, like, the face, right? When you're trying to do things. It's also, like, a technique I learned back when I was being trained in, like, classical realism, is that you intentionally like put more details into render and will have stronger contrast on like the focal points, and then in the background you very intentionally have muddier details, and you have like you don't want the you don't a good like if you're doing like a still life or something, or like a human in like an actual photo reference, right? Even if the photo has like hyper detail 4K for everything in the background, you still want to intentionally make it blurrier, make it have less detail in the shading and rendering, and have it maybe be a bit more basic so that it doesn't draw away focal attention from the face. It's part of why, with good photography and whatnot, they have specific things in focus. It creates a better composition. This shape is all wrong. While I was yapping there, I was also taking a sippy sip. That being said, the hair has thicker lining right now, but I'll fix that in a second. It has more line weight than the face, which is not really necessarily the idea, but that's just because I have this on no opacity while the face is on 49%. It's more curvature to this. There's more curvature to this that I actually have in the whites. I just failed to sketch it properly. I feel like understanding these hair shapes better will be very helpful, since that is an area I struggle in, is good hair. Like, curves in more here. I have this all too thick, though. So coming down from here, it's more like this. Okay, yeah, that's a bit more blade of grassy. It's more tapering, like it's supposed to be. Making an artistic comeback, sort of, I guess, in a way. Painting the shapes with some transparency, so it looks like the hair is layered work. Do you hear their work, reworking PGL's orb system? Yeah, I mean, they're not really rework. From what I saw from, Lena, Lena Sarah's video on the Punishing Gray radio, they're not reworking the orb system, they're just giving you the option to, like, have them collapse or not in the UI. Which is not really, I would say, reworking the system necessarily. That's more so just giving a more clean, easy to understand UI option for players. Okay, there's more curvature here. That curves nicely there. Since it's supposed to have this, like, big frontal piece right here. Bulbocine, this actually starts closer to right here-ish. But I haven't looked at the details of it myself. That's just what I saw from Lena's video about it. What about this thickness? Yeah. It's interesting how many, like, crisscrossing intersecting segments they have in LAPPIPI's hair, but it does fit nicely because it does kind of fit the whole, like, slightly more chaotic madness theming, which I think is a thing that I was kind of lacking now that I think about it. That's definitely a thing I was lacking in the original piece I did, where I was just kind of freeforming the hair. There's not as much, like, overlapping strands going in opposite directions. I thought it won't require us to get 3 in a row anymore. I mean, all I saw with Lena's thing is that they are doing a collapsible UI thing, and then their video they mentioned that they're also curious how they're going to work with older characters, because newer characters don't really do match 3 anymore, right? They have, like, orbs that are of a specific color for different forms, and don't really have much in terms of that. They kind of remove that from most of the modern characters. But at least according to that video, like I said, I haven't looked into it myself. At least according to that video, there really isn't much information about it yet. We don't really know how exactly it's going to work with those older characters. This needs to be moved over. Like I said, though, I haven't looked at, like, the live stream or information myself. I'm just quoting what was mentioned in that video. Some nice curvature to things here. This tapers out nicely. Bit more than I'm letting it taper right now. Oh my gosh, why do I keep hitting erase? Fingers no remember hotkeys without me thinking, and I have to think about which hotkey to press. That's too stark. It's more like that. And then, yeah, it tapers out widely right here, and that creates more flow. Just put more like that. This also has that slightly outward curve to it. Let's just fill that out with white real quick. Yeah, I'm doing some weird workflow mixture of like doing full white shapes and then sometimes doing actual lines instead. And it's a weird workflow. I don't know how I feel about this. It feels kind of like it's working right now, but it still also feels very weird. Go ahead and save a copy of that before I erase all of these details behind the head, just so I have it to reference later. I feel like my cheek is a bit too chubby. Yeah, my cheek looks a little too chubby. Which isn't a problem for a different style, but this style does not have very chubby cheeks. Nose is still too high up. Whoops, that was not what I meant to do. Eyes are both still too small. Yeah, okay. Now that I have like everything framed in the face, I can tell that my eyes are still a bit too small. Yeah, this style breaks proportion rules a bit with its stylization, where the eyes are definitely wider than they would be otherwise. Something just looks off here. Something's looking off with the shape of this chin, or this like chin curve here that I can't quite place my finger on. But I might not want to waste too much more time on it because I've got other practices to do. This is only the first one, and we want to get more than just one or two in today if possible. Since we are already like about an hour in. God damn it, did this take me an hour? Jesus fucking Christ, I need to get faster. Let's erase any guidelines we have. Whoops. It's a bit... Oh, you know... Cheek is a bit too wide. Okay, yeah, that's helping a lot. Oh, okay, yeah, I see. There's like this very slight like light angle here, which is where like the cheekbone is. I think that's a big part of the problem. That I don't have that cheekbone or cheek point more so right there. Yeah, I think this mostly looks fine now. Let's quickly sketch in the neck shadow. And this bit. This bit. What is this? 0%? Oh, fucking my very off hair sketches from earlier. Yeah. Yeah, no, shapes first is definitely kind of how I feel like I need to do hair at the very least. I need to do hair shapes for it to make sense to my brain. It's too curved here. Like I need some curvature, but that's too much. Clean this up real quick. Actually, I'm probably just better off using Alpha Quick Lasso. Yeah, that works much more efficiently. This needs to curve down here so that the expression looks right. A bit more tired and apathetic that way. Oh, whoops, I kind of deleted the outer part of this eyelash when I was cleaning up. Something wrong with these shapes. A bit more upwards curvature right there. Yeah, that kind of rounds out the shape of the eye a lot more. This needs to be more distinct. This should curve in properly, but then have a good amount of sclera. It's like a little under eye right there. Little under eye right there, and that really adds to the look of exhaustion of the tired peepee. Poor tired peepee. Why is peepee tired? Yeah, it's a bit more like curvature to the bottom. Sort of like that. The shape is like all wrong. This shape here is interesting. Why are the lashes like that? Oh, I think it's mostly just because of the overlap of the hairs creating that shape. It's not really because it's like intended for like eye expression shape. This shape needs to be more curved, so it looks like proper like shadow in the eye, not eyeshadow. Okay, I see. Naru Maihoro. Yeah, that way it creates like a round shape for the eye instead of being like too sharp. Because it's kind of the case over here too, huh? By having that shape rounded out, it makes the eye look more three-dimensional despite it just being black line work. Interesting. Just clean this out real quick. Clean out the LAPPIPI eye. Okay, interesting. Yeah, okay. Might be a little too much. Yeah, that makes the eyes look the pupils look a lot rounder just by having those slight little curves in there. Interesting. Okay. Neat. Okay, I think this LAPPIPI is done. I feel like I've already done far too much on this LAPPIPI. We're already like an hour in the stream and we've only done this one LAPPIPI. I was thinking this would be faster, but too washed up to do this quickly. Let's just fucking do this for the black part. Not even like stress it, dog. It's supposed to not be a focal point, so. Very intentionally just make it look quick and messy like that. And then let's go for like slightly darker color and just that's not dark enough. Yeah, I feel like the messiness doesn't work quite as well for this bit. Actually, I don't even think having that in there really works at all. Yeah, let's just erase that. I think this is fine. If we go any further than this, then it's going to be a bit. It's going to be getting too detailed, and I want to get working on other bits. We just need to do little LAPPIPI red eye. Darker at the top, lighter at the bottom. There we go. Okay, good enough. Let me try lightening the hair layer a little bit. Does that look better? Yeah, it brings more focal. It brings more, like, focal attention to the eyes and the face if we make the hair be a bit more transparent. I think that's a good level. Okay, yeah, that works. That only took a fucking hour, Jesus Christ. Softer lip curve. Oh shit, yeah, I think you're right. Hi, Realney. Sorry, I've been like so locked in I haven't been looking at chat. What traits or things made you click with LAPPIPI? She's fucking crazy for one thing, but so like my two favorite characters from Arknights are Lappland and W, Vishadel, and like they're both crazy, but they aren't like caricature crazy. I think a thing that I like so much about like the kind of like crazy characters that are kind of along their lines, with Lapland, the big like overarching theme of their character is madness. Basically being like incredibly too extra, while Vishadel is just kind of fucked in the head. But the thing I think I like so much about them is that the kind of crazy that they are is like being so unabashedly, authentically themselves, despite and authentically genuine with how they feel, despite how crazy that might be given the circumstance or how strange they are themselves, if that makes sense. And that's the thing I enjoy about LAPPIPI. They are pretty much always entirely genuine and authentic. It's just oftentimes them being authentic is oftentimes them being fucking crazy or being incredibly inappropriate for the situation. In the most recent event to Portatori dei Veluti, they also have a little bit of that, I guess, like Orehara Izia thing from Durarara, where they they basically try to go for like in like the climax of the events, they basically just decide to do a human experiment, and like essentially do it as like a bet against Texas of like, hey, so these two factions that are like about to have like a civil war against each other. What would happen if I just dropped a fuckload of weapons at their feet? And will they fall into their base human desires for violence, or will they rise above it? And they rise above it, and Lappy admits defeat, or that their bets didn't work out. But I don't know. There's a lot. I feel like I need to have both more sleep and a bit more, I guess, not split up focus to really explain it all too well right now. But there is just something about their craziness, but their craziness being this kind of expression of authenticity that I really enjoy about both of them a lot. I guess is kind of how I would surmise it right now, even if I'm not really, even if I'm a bit too distracted. I don't think I like that I cleaned that up. I think it looks better when it's just like rough like this. Yeah, it looks better this way. Cleaning it up makes it look a bit more intentional and brings more focal view into it, or more focal attention to it. Okay, that's one. Jesus fucking Christ. Alright, next, I do want to do Dishvan. Let's put this on top. Because I gotta bring it down a little bit, since I kind of went a little out of frame with this one. With this top PP here. Soft ellipse curve equal tight, sharp equal locked in. Oh, actually, yeah, you're right. Let me fix that real quick. You're right. I do need a softer lip curve here. Let's go back down to 7. Plus, with LAPPIPI, I think I just have a strong affinity for, like, themes of madness, since one of my favorite manga growing up was Soul Eater by the Goats. Atsushi Okubo. And that is kind of one of the main primary themes of Soul Eater, thematically. Thematically themes. Yes, words are hard, chat. Words are very hard. I don't know why this is there. That's not how that works. Okay, I'm not touching this anymore before, because if I touch it, god damn it, one sec. If I keep touching on this, I'm not going to start working on the next one. And I don't want to do only a single facial study this time around. Curve equals tired, sharp equals locked in. Then I just realized that even that communicates smooth. Well, the thing is that the two facial features that move the most and communicates the most in terms of expression are the eyes and the mouth. So mouth does matter. Mouth matters a lot, and eyes matter a lot. Your nose, in realism, the nose is probably the most prominent facial feature, right? Like, it takes up a lot of the space and geometry of your face. So if you're doing like realism, and you're trying to like really get all of like probably like render and shade in all of the planes of the face and the soft curves and everything, the nose is where a lot of the detail ends up having to go because it's a very complex structure geometrically. It also basically doesn't move, so in terms of like stylization for character expression, it's incredibly unimportant. This is the thing I learned in my course that I learned in a lesson from my course yesterday. Which is why in, like, stylization, not just anime stylization, but in, like, a lot of Western stylization and whatnot, and a lot of, like, cartoons and whatnot, the nose is either very basic or basically not drawn in. It's why we do dot noses or, like, little tiny hook line noses, for things, for, like, anime stylization, because it is based in, like, its historical basis of being used for expressiveness when you have a lower overall fidelity, and that kind of coming into being part of like the actual full, like being a basis for anime stylization. And when it comes to human expressions, noses aren't that important. The most we maybe get is nostrils flaring, which is something you'll sometimes see drawn in like manga and anime and whatnot. But the nose is not important for expression. It's just a very, very dominant geometrically speaking. And if you're ever doing like human realism, it becomes very important to like know how to draw a nose well. It's a big part of the face, but because it doesn't have much to do with facial muscles, with like emotion and things like that, we just kind of ignore it when we're stylizing. You decide if you want to just do like, you know, a little dot or a tiny nose hook or like a single like cast or a single like drop shadow from the corner of from like the bottom of the nose, right? Because drawing in a fully rendered nose isn't really going to change the expression of this character right now. But how the eyes look and how the eyes are positioned and how squinted they are, how the angle of them, the shape of them, the mouth itself, like those determine expression a lot more. Araki draws noses? Yeah, there are definitely artists who choose to draw the nose, but it's a thing you can't omit because it's not as important. For like stylization and the face being like a way that you express the character's emotions and whatnot, it's not that important. Araki, fucking god, what's his name? The artist and writer of Sunken Rock and Dr. Stone is the one he's more well known for, the bigger one. He also draws in noses. Like, there are definitely like manga artists who draw in noses, but even if they were to remove the noses, it doesn't change the character expression, right? Even if it's just a stylistic choice for them to want to draw in noses. Crazy how much life those reds add in. Oh yeah, that's part of why I like to put it in there. Even though LAPPIPI's eyes are actually blue, but they are red in occasionally in this music video as more of a thematic thing, and I just kind of like it. I like how it looks when their eyes are red, especially with their like more monochrome palettes of like white, gray, and black. Just finished cramming Unknowable Domain and Currency Wars, did 80 pulls on Fat Foot Banner and lost 1550 to Himiko. I'm so sorry, Rianis. Being themselves, which often coincides with being crazy. Well, being themselves pretty much always does coincide with them being crazy. I find Vishadels a bit more interesting in that sense because, especially having like recently finished the ARKNIGHTS anime that's out, and therefore like getting to re-experience that story I read like almost 2 fucking years ago. It is interesting to see how Vishadel has a whole variety of moods and emotions throughout that entire like story arc, but every single time she's just being like unabashedly, genuinely, authentically herself. It's just sometimes herself is very pissed and sometimes herself is being a bitch. Okay, anyway, I'm getting distracted from starting the next practice, but I also have to pee really badly, which is probably why I've been yapping so much, so I will be RB, chat. And we are so back. Thank you, Bruno, background for your as always. Realized when you saw a second reference. God damn it, Ice-Scar. Yes, thank you. Why do I forget that sometimes? It's like one of LAPPIPI's two most defining features. Their Ice-Scar and their hair clips, which you can't see in this because of where it cuts off. God damn it. I'm such a fake LAPPIPI fan for forgetting the Ice-Scar. Just gonna do this on a separate layer so it doesn't my brush doesn't fuck at all with the like the shapes of the eye. Yeah, it's pretty much like always like straight directly through pupil. Although the handling of the Ice-Scar is interesting because it helps add to the creating the geometry of the face. Like you can see how it kind of cuts up here because it's going over the upper lid, which is a nice little tech to use. Damn, actual fake fan though. Fill that in and just lighten it a bit. And I'm gonna call that good enough. Nope, I need hard lining. It looks weird without any kind of hard lining, at least where there should be. You can see there's like intended line weight here at the bottom and in the top right to kind of give it more dimension. So let's do that. A little lighter. Make this one a little lighter. Okay, good enough. Alright, moving on. God damn, we're an hour and a half in since starting drawing, and I've only gotten one of these done. Thought it was gonna be a shorter stream, and then it takes way too long to do a single one of these. Okay, surely we can be faster with this one, right? Ha 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 ha. Bottom of the chin. Big shape. Nose. Cheeks more about here. Mouth. Neck. Single eye. Nose. Mouth. Okay. Alright, let me speed this up this time around by doing shape thing first. Since that very clearly, like, helped with getting the shape of, getting, like, everything filled out faster. Focusing on shape first. Whoops. Yeah, then there's, like, the little curvature of the jawbone right there. Can't really see the rest past there. Neck starts, like, right there. Neck connects to the back of the ear right down there. Thinner, maybe. Whoops, wrong layer. Curvature of the jaw into whatever the fuck you can't see behind there anyway. It's a bit more right there-ish. It's kind of where, like, the jaw goes into... It's like a curve into the jaw, I guess. Yeah, they have, like, a slight curve here. Very subtle, though. Okay, and that means center point of the face is actually going up more about this way, so nose is about right here. Nose is about right here. Yeah, that's roughly lining up. That's more bottom of the eye, top of eye, mid eyes actually. Well, actually that is about mid eye since pupil is pointed downwards, but yeah, kind of more like that. Have let's see, nose. It's about 1/3 down, but the thirds are bigger because of the upward angle, so but yeah, so right about there. This goes out to about underneath of pupil, which would be about there. And then this one also goes to underneath of pupil, which is probably close to here. So it's a bit more open. Let me fill this in real quick. Since I always have a much easier time with full shapes than I do with lines. So having that black shape in there is helping a lot. Wait, nope, I'm going past the eye line. With the curvature of the cheek. Should be ending right there. It's like a slight curvature here. Yeah, slight curvature there. Then, yeah. So these kind of like taper in, but upwards slightly at the ends to convey the smile. Yeah, there's a teeth here. Interesting. It's probably because this is like animated. But the teeth should be showing a bit of like upwards curvature like this from this angle. Realistically speaking. Yeah, just show off a little bit of teeth. Just a little bit of teeth there. Just a touch of teeth. Yeah, I see. They kind of have this like opening up here and then little bits in the corner. And then just have a little bit of shadow over that tooth right there. I think it's... Mine is a little too sharp an angle. Oops, that's the wrong button, Jinx. Yeah, it kind of goes down like that. Only slightly, my ankle's still too sharp. Just a touch of curvature there. And then this goes just a little bit out. Show the tooth right there. Tooth right there. Curvature. Creates the three-dimensionality. Tooth has this slight structure to convey three-dimensionality. Shadow right there. My mouth is too open. Comparatively, at least. I mean, I don't think it really necessarily looks bad that open, but I do want to try to get it a bit closer. Yeah, it's still a bit too open up here. Am I focusing too much on the smile? Probably. But I also kind of want to figure out how they have shaped this mouth and have this expression. So I'm not mad at it. The angle just off too, I think so. Oh, there's actually like a slight on the curve here. Yeah, my angle is slightly off. Yeah, I gotta like line it up with parallel with the eye, basically. More like that. Maybe a bit more to the side. I have it a bit too far to the right side. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's see. Maybe I can just do eyes as like base as just like line shapes like this instead. Seems to be okay here. Erase these guidelines are throwing me off. So erase my guidelines now. Because the guidelines aren't exactly super accurately placed or anything. So them being there might just throw things off. If I actually took the time to like make sure my guidelines were being placed accurately and proportionally, that's a different matter. But because they're just kind of roughly in there for me to like do some basic gauging of things, probably not the best idea to keep them in at this point. That looks like it's staring at you. Yes, my eye is not wide enough. bit more squinted than I have it. A little curvature under here to convey the three-dimensionality. Yeah, if there's anything I've been learning from these studies, it's how important little subtle curves in the eyes are. When your lines are too straight, it just like kills the roundness of the eyes. Like it makes it look less three-dimensional. Even just like the slightest little bit of like curve right here, instead of having it be a completely straight line, really conveys like the shape. Oh, like the form better, so it looks a bit more like it's actually curving in three-dimensional. Instead of like a flat geometric shape. Geometric? No, I mean, circles are still geometric. But makes it look less flat, I guess, is the point. When you really love the character, you feel like you must do him justice? Yeah, exactly. But which, you know, is motivation to, like, try to make it look nice and improve it. But it's also motivation to just, like, do art in general. That's why I'm trying to draw LAPPIPI. I might do some studies of Vishadel next stream if I decide I don't want to keep going with this like list of LAPPIPI refs I'm working with right now. Since I thought I would get through a lot more than I'm getting through right now in the time I'm spending. Because we're already 2 hours into stream and I haven't even finished the second one yet, but that's because I'm slow. That's because I'm slow and I'm learning a good amount, but I'm not getting a lot done very fast. I'm learning a lot about like how they handle the shapes and everything, which is very helpful, but I'm not exactly getting my studies done very quickly, but I'm also trying to be careful to like get things right and learn from it, so that's fine. Nose is way higher up. Not way higher up, but proportionally it's quite a bit higher up. Actually, the mouth is too. All of this is just a bit too far down. Oh, maybe not. My mouth is just a bit bigger, actually, is the problem. I actually made my mouth too big. Just sketch in a little. Okay, cool. This eye shape looks pretty good, though. Let's add in upper lid. And then the eyebrow is, you can just barely see the eyebrow here going upwards, which helps add a lot to the expression. To just barely see this eyebrow up here. Really adds that extra little feeling of pity to them looking at you. Yeah, I'm actually just gonna draw in the scar on the same layer this time, though, since I don't have like really precisely made eye shapes like I did last time that I don't want to fuck with. Okay, so like a little one going this way. Yeah, it's a curve slightly. Definitely seems like when you're trying to just use shape to convey the form of the eye, that like the direction of curvature on the eyelashes is pretty important. This one goes down. This one goes straight, and then this one curves up, which kind of shows the curvature of the eye a bit. This, once again, needs to be more curved, as does this. Curve. Curve. Tapering more, but still curved. Curve, curve, curve. Even though they're very slight curves, the curves are very important for the eye. Like right here, curves out slightly on the sclera, but that is adding in more form to that eye. The curve is a bit cleaner than mine right here. Yeah, just a lot of slight curves in the eye, making a big difference. I feel like my mouth and nose. My nose is still too. It's too big. B, it needs to be higher up. See, it's not curved in the right angle. It's more like this. Yeah, okay, that curvature shows that it's the bottom of the nose better. That makes sense. This is angled a bit more this way. Flatten that a bit. Yeah, good enough. Have I flipped my image recently? No, I have not, because I forget to do that. Let's try flipping. I guess still most of it looks fine. The top one looks a bit less like they're looking at you, but so does the reference, so whatever. Yeah, my face is slightly longer than the one on than like the reference in this one, but I think it's fine. It makes the head angle is slightly different because of it, but that's fine. Okay, let's get rid of that. Now we paint in hair. Let me see. Kind of swoops over like this. This goes right down there across the nose-ish. More like that. And it tapers a lot more. This one is a bit more this angle. comes like all the way over here almost. But thank you, Port, for noting the flipping. Slow means you're absorbing it. I guess that's true. PP looking good today. Thanks, Merrick. Good to see you. More stuff picked up. Curves equals detail. I mean, curves doesn't necessarily equal detail, but curves helps with the roundness of it. It makes it look... It makes the eye look more three-dimensional than straight lines would, you know? At least that's what I think is happening. How correct am I? I don't fucking know, but that's what it looks like to me. And, you know, a lot of styles very intentionally wants to look more two-dimensional, but I like semi-realism, so I like having that curvature to it. I think that's part of what I like a lot about the art style in this music video. Is that it has these, like, this, like, curvature that suggests a bit more form to it. And that is a thing that I am learning from this, that I am enjoying about it. Can I just build this fucking in? Okay. I need a bigger fucking brush than this. What am I doing? 15. Okay. We always do hair in 15. Let me see. This biggest shape, right? Let me fill that in real quick. Yeah, okay, I can see, now that it's filled in, I can see the issues with the shape a bit better. And it lets me kind of carve it properly by having it filled in like this. It's probably a very weird way to do hair. I feel like I've watched like a lot of tutorials and like and like speed paints and time lapses of various illustrators, and they definitely don't do it this way. But it makes sense to my brain. Lets me create nice shapes. I'd much rather carve out the hair than try to like draw it, I guess. Even if I can use drawing as like the starting point for that. Alright, let's just like line this bit in real quick though, since now we're about to get to other things that'll fuck with the silhouette of that. But I do like how this ended up right here. Yeah, maybe this like progressively painting in and then sketching slash lining hair chunks might make the most sense for me. You can also see that that's like slightly off. It doesn't have quite as natural a curve and flow to it. So that's definitely a thing I was struggling with, was like, okay, I can make these shapes look good by painting them out, but then I get to a point where I'm like, wait, now the silhouette's getting muddied up, and that's by continuing to paint more on top of that right now, which is definitely an issue I ran into with other studies we've done so far. I mean, I still kind of want to just get big shapes in right now and refine it from there, though, so let's do that real quick. Let's see. Also, I haven't saved this in fucking forever. That'll be a nightmare. I think it's just that front chunk I wanted to make sure was where it needed to be first. Whoops. Carve out this. So yeah, we have this kind of big swooping up shape right here. Going in over there. Alright, let's just fill this real quick. That is not fill, that is alpha fill, and therefore removes. And that is not what I wanted. Why am I on 7 pixels? Still 15. We do hair in 15. This feels like the right brush size. Let's fix up this shape a little bit. Yeah, little flicky boy over here. This is actually too steep. That's why it looks a little weird. This thought's too low down. Either way, that's fine. Let's get the other side as well real quick, so I'm not too focused on just one side. Bup, bup, bup. About here-ish. Here-ish. Shapes about like that. Yeah. Oh my god, what the fuck do I follow next? Let's fill that all out. Yeah, okay, that works as a big shape. I can see an issue with my chin right, with my jaw right here actually, now that that's in there. Huh. This is too fat because this actually curves more like up here-ish. This is a bit closer to the chin. Oh, not the chin, jaw, whatever, side of the face. Still has a nice blade structure to it, though. Yeah, just got a little guy coming across like that. It's filled out. There we go. When I draw, I usually flip whenever the music track I'm listening to changes. Fair. The thought of flipping an artwork is terrifying. I mean, it's important to do because it helps kind of reset your view of everything that's happening. It's definitely something you want to do fairly often. I am pretty bad about remembering to do it because I don't have a hotkey for it, so I have to do it like this. But it does help you identify errors pretty nicely, since it kind of forces you to reset your perspective on it. Ready to get my references? These are all like cut from the music video for Unmask. The official music video for Lappland Alter's launch. Their theme music, basically. Which I normally have in the background playing while we do this, but I'm kind of trying to do it without it this time around to see how it goes. Yeah, the shape is wrong. Okay, let's line in some of this real quick. That is too large. Back to 7. It's interesting to have that little bit right there. Oh, interesting. It's double lined there to add shadow. Huh. Neat. So put ups more here than I have it. These bits don't really matter that much, just texturing for the hair. I guess they still matter, but gonna be a bit looser with this bit. Actually, no, it's still important for me to pay attention and make sure that the lines are curving the way that they should be, because they're not. Since these details are also important. Yeah, this is a bit more inwards. Paying attention to the curving and the tapering, and I'm realizing that I'm drawing these from down here, but they're supposed to go all the way up here. I'm just like, I've made the neck too long, and I'm referring to where they are, not relative to the face, but where they are relative to the bottom, and I have more bottom. It's mostly this bit that needs to get moved. Why is nothing moving? I'm on the wrong layer, aren't I? Yep. How did that happen? How did I change layers just now? Yeah, and then this blades down a little bit like this. Okay, that looks better. Have you seen this neat challenge where artists make their work while it's flipped vertically? Yeah, I'm not doing that. That does sound like a neat challenge. I am not doing that right now. Have you tried a good meal and listening to music? I do need food pretty soon, but no idea why, but I feel burnt out on everything and ideas to reset. Maybe too mentally stimmed. I just kind of chill out with passive consumption media when I feel like I'm burnt. When I feel like I'm kind of burnt, like I'll just go watch some fucking anime or something. Something that doesn't require mental inputs. You can just sit there and consume. Is often what I find helps me with that. It's a lot of what I've done like the past 2 days. As I was kind of like as I kind of burnt myself out a bit, having spent 6.5 hours doing that one piece from earlier. Stop the right jaw with a cheekbone curve. Yeah, maybe actually. I mean, the thing is, like, I don't have like. There probably is. I have to like assume where the cheekbone or where like this cheek curve is right here because it's not in the reference. But now that I'm looking at it, there is noticeably more negative space between this hair and that. So yeah, that is a thing. So I definitely don't have my cheek out. Oh, my not cheek. This side of the face out properly. So thank you for pointing that out, Dread. Yeah, it should go more like this. Mine is quite a bit too narrow. Which actually explains a lot about geometry of the face a bit. This also curves out more. And on both this and this. All of this needs to move over a good chunk. Closer to like there. Yeah, that's better. Change the angle too. Just refill the white. See an issue with my mouth angle too, actually. One thing, this is just like ever so slightly more upturned. But also the bottom side doesn't have correct curvature to it. Since you're looking at it from the bottom side up, so it should be a bit more like... a bit more like that. Yeah, like, I like my stuff that requires very active consumption. I like playing games, I like doing art things, I like studying various things I find interesting, like arts and writing and whatnot. Uh, but if burnt out and brain and willpower tired, passive consumption nice. And I will pretty intentionally consume something that doesn't require, that won't necessarily trigger or require that much brain power. So I'm not going to watch something that is like really, that is very thought-provoking, will make me want to contemplate things about life or myself or the human condition, even though I love that kind of media dearly, as you definitely know if you've ever fucking heard me yap about the kinds of stories and games and whatnot that I like. But I'll just watch something that doesn't require much thought. That's why, like, I recently picked up and have been watching Tsukimichi Moonlit Fantasy, which is just, quite frankly, like, pretty good junk food isekai. And I've just been consuming that because it is dopamine, haha, brain empty kind of entertainment. But also, like, there's plenty of other, like, series I could just rewatch if I really wanted that. And I find that can help a lot with, like, regenerating from being burnt out. At least for me personally. Good enough. I'm not gonna fuck with the math anymore. Getting too bogged down in it. Okay. Alright, let's get this hair right here. Has like a slight curve down and then a very thin tapering point. This one just has a nice curl upwards with a very sharp taper right here. Can't really see that line in the reference, but we'll just continue on. This kind of comes nicely down, and then we have a blade shape with like angle there and angle there. The two angles changing the taper amount, I guess, are what kind of create that nice blade shape to it. Okay, let's see here. Absolute digital widgetry that you could move the whole piece conveniently to align with the reference. My pencil and paper could never. Oh yeah, no, that's one of the biggest things. I mean, regardless, outside of it aligning with the reference, being able to move a section or slightly resize a section without having to redraw it is like so nice. It's one of my favorite things about digital. The undo button's nice too, but I don't actually really use the undo button all that often, right? Because of my, like, more sketchy style. I prefer to just kind of, I'll, like, draw in a line and then, like, erase it slightly and then, like, sculpt in the line more and then erase a bit more. I don't actually use the undo button all that much because I don't do, like, a hard inking style where undo is way, way more useful. Just kind of along the lines of how, like, I like drew in pencil and everything in traditional medium. But being able to move things around and resize them and all of that is just so fucking nice. Let's see, it's a bit of a tighter shape here. Let's see. We'll just focus on these big flows right down here first. Yeah, the tapering, it seems to be a big part of what creates, like, nice flow for the hair. Things getting wider and thinner in various directions. Curvature is important too, but I think the tapering is really what's, like, I think that's probably a big thing that was missing from my original piece. The hair didn't have enough tapering happening, so it kind of felt like the hair was lacking flow because of that. Maybe. I think that might be it. Maybe. I'd have to go back and, like, actually analyze the piece more deeply. But I definitely did not get enough, like, hair practice in before working on that. Which is fine. It was nice making an original piece and kind of focusing on my strengths of human figure realism with it, and then being able to, I mean, doing like a whole piece like that, because when you're doing like a study, you have like the reference and everything, and the reference can help you overcome shortcomings. Like, my hair looks pretty okay when I'm doing studies because I'm just using the reference, but doing original work and doing like full and doing the whatnot lets you kind of identify what it is you're lacking, I feel, pretty quickly. Because definitely by far the hugest struggle with that particular artwork was getting the hair to look anything close to good. This needs to be further out. It's not quite fat enough there. More like... Okay, actually, just move all of this over then, because that makes everything here fatter too. Yeah, a little bit more floof, more volume. Okay, let's move this too, I guess. Yeah, there's more volume to that. Nice poofiness to the hair. Yeah, that does mean that proportionally... I need to shift this over a bit. Oh, actually, I just think this is a bit tighter. Gotta have to do this cowlick thing over here. That's gonna be a bit nightmarish to deal with. Fill this in real quick. But a challenge is a good thing. Cries. Okay, yeah, no, this needs to be more like right here. Tapers more here too. Creates this similar but uneven thickness through the tapering. That gives it a bit more flow. The curvature happens a bit further down. It's not like how that looks. At this point, though, I'm definitely needing food. Brain is getting kind of foggy and challenging to continue understanding mistakes and analyzing things. Since the entire time I'm doing this, I'm trying to actively analyze things and try to figure out what works and what doesn't. Since, like I've mentioned before, if I'm doing like a study, or in this case, I guess like a master study, right? It's important to focus on the study part of it. It's not a matter of me just trying to get at as good at copying what is on there as possible. It's about trying to understand why the thing is the way it is in the reference. Why the artist made that choice. Why... Oh... Trying to understand the thought process and study the actual techniques and things like that in particular. Very important for, very important part. Otherwise, all you're really doing is getting better at copying, right? But you want to copy so that you can apply the things that you are copying to your own work. That's how I view it, at least. But I am reaching the points where my brain is like, I need calories so that you can keep analyzing things. Because I'm starting to get a little mentally foggy, honestly. I do kind of like these little extra cowlicks coming off, though. It does add to, like, the look of messiness of the hair and everything, and this is way too far to the side. Yeah, it's like a thinner overall lick over here. That is not what I meant to do. I did not hit the correct button there. Yeah, this has got kind of like a nice bulbous, thick strand coming down. But it's almost like a 1:3 ratio with a bit by the neck. So it's more interesting shape-wise. Because you don't want the shapes or the thicknesses of your hair, grasses, and strands and everything to be the same. It makes it look a lot less interesting unless you're trying to make it look super even. With like a Shrine Priestess haircut or something, I guess. Probably. I don't know. Makes sense to me. Honestly, that's probably good enough. Anything more than this, and we're getting a little too extra with it that I don't want to right now. Since I'm not trying to do, like, fully completed pieces with this. Okay, let's copy that, paste that. Hide the original, in case I need that, and to erase all the bits behind the hair. I forgot to add in this bit up here. Oh, interesting. There's actually a cowlick going over here, which is actually kind of an important detail, I feel. These, like, little tiny wisps of hair going off in the opposite direction of the normal flow of the hair, I think is something I was missing in my original work. That is adding a lot to, like, the LAPPIPI look. I feel like my LAPPIPI in that original one I put together, the original piece I made, the hair looks too not crazy. It looks like it flows too well, like it's too well taken care of, and I think that's part of why it looked off, now that I'm, like, actually doing more hair study, and realizing that LAPPIPI's hair has a bunch of random fucking cowlicks going off in, like, the different directions from the flow of the piece of hair it's currently on and whatnot. Loose strands and whatnot that just make her look more disheveled. And kind of push more of that whole, like, madness thing that's, like, huge with her. That's a huge part of her theming. The hair I made looks too clean, I guess. But, like, these little tiny little strands and cowlicks and everything are really, like, really add a lot to her look and her vibe. I think it had more to do with gesture than tapering. Oh, yeah, fair. Definitely also could be the case. I mean, both could be important, I guess, but... Approaching an hour for this one, nice pace. Okay, well, I should just expect these to take an hour, I guess. I guess these just take a fucking hour or something. I'll get faster over time, but... Yeah, just make sure that this has curvature. But not super even curvature. The neck is not a pure cylinder, after all. And underneath the hair, just gonna fucking do, like... Where... I need it to be bigger than that. Go like a 60. Yeah, nice and rough, so it's clearly not supposed to be a focal point. Ugh, how do I make this look right? I don't think the up and down actually works very well here. God, I could make it look like that with this one, but I'm really struggling with this one to make it look like it's... Okay, sure, that works. Fuck it. Yeah, good enough. Yeah. You will be able to see the other eye with what I have here, but fuck it. It's fine. Hair, slightly lower opacity. A bit more than that. What is that there? What the fuck is that? The fuck? Is that in the white? No. Oh, it's in the sketch layer. What the fuck is this? Why is this here? Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away. Go away. Okay. And red PPI. Maybe darker on the bottom side this time. Actually, curvature. That made it look good so easily on the first one, and now I can't do it on this one. It's just because, like, having it light at the top doesn't make that much sense, actually, but make more sense for it to be dark right there, and dark right there, and, like, light right there. Yeah, more like that. I need to fill in. Whoops. Fill in the pupil a bit. Reference doesn't do it, but stylistically it makes more sense. Or maybe not. Maybe it looked fine the way it was before. Yeah. Do need like a slight rough gray for the scar. Okay, that's fine. All right, well, we got 2 of these done. It's been almost 3 hours, and we got fucking 2 of these done. Jesus Christ, I am slow. Yeah. So I am still quite slow at this, but I was planning on, like, shotgunning out way more. I thought maybe it would take me half an hour to 45 minutes to do one of them, but it's taking significantly longer than that. But it's fine. I mean, yeah. We can maybe come back and work on more of these in the future then, but I think these 2 are good at this point. I don't want to keep art streaming for much longer, plus I need to go eat something, so going to go ahead and call this, and then we'll be doing another stream in a little bit for ARK No Knights, the definitely not shitpost April Fool's event on ARKNIGHTS that I would like to do on stream. Let's make the thumbnail for that one real quick, though. Also, let's go ahead and just look at this time lapse real quick. Yeah, okay. Well, less done than expected, but that's fine. Oh, yawning, need food. Okay, let's open recent thumbnail. 329 to save as 04022. Let's see, ARK No Knights. Hmm. Maybe let's actually just pull up the actual one in game and screenshot it. Doesn't seem like there's any particularly good images to use. I guess I do kind of like this one. Copy image. Search by image, see if I can find a higher res one. No. Looks like no. What the fuck? The Muggle Kingpin? What is this? What are these visual matches happening right now? It's not. It's pretty low res. Is it fine though? Ah, that's fine. Sure. Very serial. It's a very serial. We're going to very seriously play a very serial game mode that is not an April Fool's shitpost. Let's maybe flip that. I think I like this angle better. And you know what? Let's grab Lapkek. And throw her in the corner. And then throw me in the corner. Oh, wait. Laffy's covering a bit of that S. There we go. Okay. And then we'll go ahead and set this stream for 15 minutes from now. Why not? Oh, fuck. Okay. Schedule stream. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Post arts playing very serial. Very seriously playing very serial ARK No KNIGHTS. We finished art. Cracky strim for tonight. So now we play the most serial event ARKNIGHTS has ever put out. We play ARK No KNIGHTS. The most serious of serial events ARKNIGHTS has ever put out. That is definitely not an April Fool's shitpost. Change this to this. Okay, game is ARKNIGHTS. Still crazy that they have Enfield VN, which is apparently just regular Enfield, but like in Thai or something, in Vietnamese, in like Vietnamese or something. It's weird. Schedule this for 15 minutes from now, so we're gonna do 11. We're gonna do 11:30, chat. I'm gonna go get some food and eat a little bit, and then we'll come back and do this. All right, chat. It has been quite a lot of fun. Thanks for hanging out, everyone. We are done with the art for tonight, and we'll now go. I'm gonna go eat something and chill for a second, and then we'll come back and do ARK No KNIGHTS, a very, very serious game mode that is not an April Fool's shitpost. Alright. But if you come join us on that one, it'll be nice to see you. If not, though, and you had a good time tonight, you want to hang out with a bunch of other gacha degenerates, the link to the Discord server, the Goondola To Gacha Hell, is in the description of this live stream, or the VOD if you are watching all the way to the end for some reason, you weirdo. We love Hags here, and don't forget to live your most authentic life, as well as look respectfully and goon from the heart. Okay, bye for like 50 minutes.